Hey guys, my name is Maribel. I'm one of the top female racers in the world of EUC, and I just wanted to get on here and talk to you guys about how the race event run by TEF1 that happened in Winchester, California on Saturday. And it was such a great event. It was amazing. I'm so happy that I was able to compete in that beautiful track. And I'm pretty sure people want to know, what wheel was I racing? And I want to go into more details about that story so that you guys understand. And, you know, because a lot of people on the internet like to make assumptions and, you know, they like the drama online and all these things. So first things first, let's track back 9 to 10 months ago when the 168 volt wheels first came out. This was the ET Max and the Commander GT Pro. So those two wheels are by Bigode. Well, the ET Max is by Bigode, and then there's the sister company, Extreme Bull. And you know, I made reviews on these wheels, separate reviews, and one time we took those wheels out to a go-kart track in Stockton, California, and I had my V4 Master also. So, you know, at that time I was in the market for a new wheel, right? Because I've always been racing my Bigode EXN electric unicycle, which was 100 volts, and I've won all my races with that wheel. So it was a huge part of my life. It shaped me to the racer that I am today. And it's really hard to go to a new wheel after winning so many races, right? So that's another challenge. So I was in the market at that time for a new wheel, and you know, you kind of feel lost and you feel like, well, damn, am I gonna continue winning races? Am I gonna be as fast as I was before with a new wheel? So I was it was like a trial and error, like hopping on these new wheels. And that's also a challenge, right? Like getting on different wheels, like your setup changes constantly. You're messing around with the pads, the pedals, and it's just the shape of the wheel. There's so many factors that come into play. So, you know, I got on the ET Max. I rode it around the track, and don't get me wrong, like it was a fast wheel, and I took it around the track. I did a couple laps, and it wasn't feeling right. You know, when you have that doubt, like, this wheel, just something is missing. You know, the ET Max weighs about, you know, 110, 12 pounds. It's a heavy wheel. The shape of it is kind of narrow, and it sits tall. The suspension was a coil suspension, so it's kind of sitting on top of the wheel, or it sits higher. And whereas the GT Pro, it's a different shape. It's literally a box, a suitcase, whatever you want to call it. It sits lower, the pedals are lower, and it has a different type of suspension. It's hydraulic, so there's two rods in the center. It would sit lower below my knees, so it felt like my EXN, y'all. My EXN was kind of shaped like a box too, but it was a little bit more rounder, and the wheel, the EXN, was like sitting below my knee. So when I feel that a wheel is right for me is when, just so you understand, every rider has a different preference, and my preference was, I feel like wheels that sit below your knees are sometimes offer better performance. You don't want a wheel that's gonna be like all the way to your crotch, right? Because then you can't really lean. And although some people like that feeling, because when they're turning, they can like really hold on to the wheel. When the wheel's like between your legs, like you're like leaning, it's holding you like upright. But for me, I didn't like that, you know? I'm not that short. I'm 5'5", 5'6". I'm not that short. So it wasn't too bad, but on turns, the ET didn't feel right for me, personally. But I tell you, when I got on that GT Pro, it felt like it was for me, and it was the wheel for me. It was stable. It was fast. It has speakers. You know, I love music when I'm racing. Who doesn't? And the speakers they're loud. And at that time, a lot of people didn't like that wheel, right? Because how ugly it looked. It looked like a box. It had some, like, these fenders, these, like, spoilers on it. And they were red. Red is a beautiful color, you know, for a rose. But not for a wheel for me. Come on. Come on. You know, you guys know my signature colors are either red and white. So I was like, damn, I wish they made it in a different color. So anyway, let's get back to like the details of performance-wise. So ever since that time, I was like, shit, I'm gonna give this wheel a chance. I'm gonna keep taking it out to the track. And a week after that, there was a go-kart race event run by one of the guys. Shout out to them, the go-kart guy. Yeah, it was the first time I took out the GT Pro on the track, and I raced it along with other gas scooters, and there's like a couple other guys too on the unicycle. John, also known as Rockby, Justin Lee from South Bay, and Chris Clark, in the Alien Rise team. And it felt nice. Like I actually did pretty well. And what sticked out the most was the high-end torque, the speed that I was getting from it. And I was going really fast, and I felt safe. You know, a wheel's supposed to feel safe at high speeds, right? And in order for it to feel safe at high speeds, it has to be stable. So I was like, yes, this might be the wheel for me. And I felt confident. It was a great feeling. And, you know, ever since that day, I started like using the wheel. And this wheel was the floor model from Alien Rides. And I do want to give a shout out to Kevin Grandin and the guys at the shop, the Alien Rides team, for, you know, letting me use this wheel. So it was not my wheel. It was not my wheel. So I'm very grateful for Alien Rides, because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be on this wheel, right? So thank you guys. So the floor model, right? At that time, Alien Rides was the only company that had this wheel. And at the same time, it felt like, you know, people would think, oh, I'm just promoting a wheel because I work for Alien Rides. I don't work for Alien Rides. I'm not physically there at the shop working. Like, I am a sponsor racer. There's a difference between that, right? So get that straight. And now I like to be honest in my reviews. And a piece of advice is, if you see someone posting videos of that same wheel, it's because they truly like that wheel, and they truly want the public to know that it's a performance wheel, and it could be great, not just because of its looks, of its like assumptions that people make online, you know? And it sucks because you need to try out a wheel in person before talking smack on the internet. I need to drink some water, man. Okay, so that's when it all started, and I was gonna race this wheel at ABS too, and that's when TEF1, they made an announcement that there's gonna be a race in SoCal, in Winchester, and I was like, yes, I'm so excited, because this wheel was the wheel that's gonna shine on that track, the 168 bolt wheels. And it's time to show you my wheel, yo. Let's get to it. This is it. So what we have here is I was using the AR power pads, customized. You can get them in any color that you like. You can also see if you want it soft, extra cushy, or hard, firm. I believe mine is not that cushy. It's like semi-firm, some cush, but they did its job. These are the jumbo ones. So I tried to use the Nylanov ones that were on my master, but they felt too small, especially on this wheel here. This is such a big wheel. I love the surface area on this one because I have space to attach, you know, patches, and I can move the pads around. I spray painted the handles on it. So, and it has the EX30 rim. This is the 80 by 90 -14. So this is not the GT Pro Plus, okay? That one, the exterior looks the same as this one, but the rim changes, right? Because that one's 100 by 90. So the tire is super chunky. It has the tile motor like the ET Max. And let's look at the front. So a lot of people were complaining about these spoilers on the GT Pro. And, you know, I took them off at one point. I took off the spoilers on the back because it indeed was like stabbing my legs. Because I usually, when I squat, like when I brake really hard, I squat. And so, like, man, my legs were like bruised because of that spoiler. So I added some like baby foam padding, and it helped. It helped pretty good. It helped a little bit. And okay, so back to me taking off the spoiler. I was going around the track, right? On the straightaway at Intro to Speed the Bay, we replicated the straightaway like TEF1 at the Winchester. And man, like, holy crap, I was getting some crazy wobbles without that spoiler. And it felt so scary. Like when you get when you get the wobbles, especially when you're going like 50 plus miles per hour, it feels so scary. Ever since that day, I learned my lesson. I'm like, no way. I told the guys, like, oh my God, I'm putting back these spoilers and I'm gonna find a way for that spiky end not to poke my legs when I'm like going into a hard break. So I kept the spoilers, I added baby foam, and I went with the flow, and it worked. I wasn't getting wobbles with the spoiler. I put it back on and it felt nice and stable. So if I was you, I would keep the spoilers. I know there's gonna be like people out there making like these bumpers for it, and there is. I believe Chris Clark has a setup already. So yeah, good times. And I do want to jump back to the go-kart track that I took the GT Pro to. And, you know, I was telling the guys, like Chris Clark and John and, you know, Tony and Justin Lee, I was telling them, look, like, this wheel is so good, it's so stable. You guys should try it out. Just hear me out for once. God, guys and their egos. Anyways, I was like, please try it out. And yeah, like the guys were like on their EX30, the ET Max, the Master, and I believe, you know, John was on the ET, and then Clark was on the EX30, and they were just going back and forth, also like finding the right wheel. And eventually they, you know, they got on the GT Pro, and ever since then they heard good things about it and they enjoy riding or racing it. And if you guys want to get more information, those are the guys to reach out to as well. I can give you more information about this wheel, but performance wise, I highly recommend the GT Pro. It is safe to say that it is a good wheel, and you just gotta try it. Try it in person, take it out on the track, because that's how you'll find out. What else I want to say? Oh, yes. So if you did not know, I was going to compete in both the divisions, the EUC Pro and the Women's, and I did my qualifications for both. And when the EUC Pro heats came, I was, geared up, I was ready, and then Joe told me, hey, you do realize that right after these 3 laps, you're going to go into your next heat, which the women's heat. So that's another 3 laps. So I was like, oh man, that's going to be a lot. That's 6 laps total, basically. And it's a big track. I have a heavy wheel, so it takes a toll on my body, especially if I'm a light rider. With gear I weigh 125. This wheel weighs about 110. So if you do the math, I shouldn't be racing a heavy wheel. There's pros and cons. So I'm gonna leave it at that. So I made a tough decision that I kind of do regret it, because I really wanted to feel and test out the power of the GT Pro while racing with the top dogs. I felt like I was not pushing it as much as I wanted to in the women's race. I just had to secure the defending champion place. So I kind of just told myself, look, I just need to focus in the women's race. I need the money like anyone else. We all need money, but I'm glad with how everything turned out. I had a great time. I do want to give a shout out to Tony and the guys at Alien Rides. They brought out the van. We had the charging station. That was very helpful. Everybody was scrambling around finding charging stations, and it was a blast. I had a blast, and I hope you guys enjoy this video. And I want you guys to learn that. Come back to my YouTube channel. You learn some things from me. There's a lot of YouTube influencers out there that are all male dominant. They all talk about EUCs, and there's not many women out there that do talk about the unicycles. Performance wise, we're sometimes portrayed as, just because of our bodies, we want to sell these wheels. I want you guys to respect me as a racer. I'm here to provide you guys with my experiences with unicycles and what works for me and what doesn't. So if you guys enjoy this video, please like and subscribe, and I will continue to put out useful content for you guys. I finally got a microphone set up, and I'm still kind of like learning how to make this audio a little bit better for you guys. So just bear with me. I'm still learning. But yeah, I hope to see you guys in the next race. This was my last race of the year, and I can't wait for next year. I have some big news for you guys, but you guys have to wait. So thank you guys.